Quick demonstration of using an iPad to access online resources for learning and teaching, specifically within the Glow environment. This video is prepared in connection with the e-Sgoil, where many pupils are now working from home and are accessing both vScene and also Office 365 within the Glow environment in order to access their lessons and so on. The critical thing about mobile devices is that you need to install apps in order to access the services. I mean, you can log on to RM Unify, of course, using a browser. You can see I've got installed here my Chrome browser, which I prefer to use. And if I type in here Glow, I can go to Glow and log into the Launchpad. So once you've logged in, you can see all the tiles, and of course there are some resources here which are web-based that you should be able to access without any trouble. However, if you were to try and access something like, say, Microsoft Teams, what actually happens is, I've just clicked on the tile there, you'll notice at the top of the screen it mentions that it was redirecting. So what's actually happening here is that the session is aware that we're on a mobile device and it's wanting us to use the Teams app. And as you can see here, there's a message telling you that the browser's not supported for this particular app. So let me just quit out of that now and let me go back to look at how we would actually do this. If I just click on this button here, these are all the apps that I've already got installed. Quite a range of different Microsoft apps there. These are all the ones that you potentially might need, although you don't necessarily need every one. But you can see some common things there like Teams, Outlook, OneDrive, and also OneNote, and things like Word and so on, which you can also, which you're also likely to need if you're working on a mobile device. In order to get those, you need to go to in the case of an iPad, which is what I'm using here just now, you do need to go to the App Store. If you search for Microsoft, you'll see that you get a large list of items that you can install, things like OneDrive, OneNote's there, Teams is there. So it's really a good idea to get all these installed before you ever try and access the Glow environment. One of the good things about the Teams app, of course, is that once you've entered your credentials into it, username and password, it remembers them from one session to the next. So actually it's quite a nice experience once you've got it installed. So if I just go to my Teams app just now, you'll see that it opens up and gives me access to my Teams environment. And this is my particular login for this particular, for the Glow environment. And you can see on the left-hand side, very similar to the desktop app, a list of all my teams, all the courses that I'm a member of, and so on. And of course, the user interface on the right-hand side is very similar to the one that you'll find on the desktop. Posts area, same as usual. I'll just go into my demo team to demonstrate this. There we are. We've got some comments going on there, demonstrations of assignments being set and so on. Files area, of course, is the files area within Teams. And again, you can see I've got access to all my shared drives there. So if I click on one of those, for example, you can see that I've got access to the files that have been provided for that course. And there's a More button. So other things that are in my top menu, if I were accessing through the browser on a computer, are available there too. Now you can see various familiar things there, particularly the class notebook. I want to show you this though, because when you launch the class notebook on a computer, it typically launches within the app or within the browser session that you're currently using. However, in this case, you'll notice that it's actually loading up the OneNote app. So you've got two apps in play here. You've got the Teams app for general access to your Teams environment, but when you actually try and click on a resource, like within a class notebook, it takes you to the OneNote application. First time you do this, you may actually be asked to authenticate. In other words, put in your username and password again. But again, once you've done that, the OneNote app will remember your credentials. So it should be pretty easy next time around. Just looking at the structure of this particular OneNote, you can see that the second column there is very similar to the one that you would see on the computer if you were accessing there. So I can go into the content library here, for example, view the electricity unit, and you can see different pages there. And typically, this works very similarly to the way things work on the desktop computer. So it's important to be aware that if you're working on a mobile device like this, that there is a need to get those apps installed. They're all free, you don't have to pay for them, and you can get them directly from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on whether you're on an Android device or on an Apple device like the one I'm using to demonstrate today. Unfortunately, I don't have an Android device, so I can't demonstrate that, but I'd like to try and get a demonstration like this for that as well. So the key thing is get all the Microsoft apps installed on your device, ideally before you come to do any work. I mean, you don't necessarily need every one, and depending on the sort of work that you're doing, that you may need or may not. But the bare minimum that you're going to require here, on the one hand, is Microsoft Teams, and on the other, the OneNote app. I think probably Word would be another good one to install, because quite a lot of teachers publish resources based on Word. So for now, I just wanted to provide that overview just to kind of demonstrate the difference between the two different platforms, desktop and mobile device. Thank you.